Today, we look at Coastal Carolina transfer and Sunbelt Player of the Year, DeVante Jones. If you haven't yet, please share and subscribe to help grow the channel, and I hope you enjoy the video. Today's video is powered by SeatGeek. Get $20 off any ticket sold using promo code AITRIGHT on the SeatGeek app or website. The 6'1", 200-pound point guard out of New Orleans is transferring out of Coastal Carolina while still going through the NBA draft process. He was a number 32 scorer in the country last year. He was also the second best rebounder nationally for guards 6'1" and under. Stocky, high IQ, below the rim point guard prototype, similar to players like Kyle Lowry or Raymond Felton. But his player comparison today is going to be former Wichita State guard and current NBA player Fred VanVleet. High IQ players know how to work with their athleticism, elite at picking their spots and exploiting defenses, not the most athletic, but still finds ways to finish against more explosive defenders. Jones has 2 years left of eligibility and has trimmed down his final list of schools to Memphis, Michigan, Texas, and Texas Tech. This past season, DeVante showed he could be a pretty good shooter. In conference, he was about 37% from three, and he got his looks in spot-up situations off the ball, hitting defenders with combos, hitting them with step-backs, or he was just given just enough space. He took about 5 threes per game, and he wasn't bashful on some of these attempts. Defenders can play great defense with a solid contest, and Jones still found a way to knock him down. I think he'll have to be a bit more selective with his shooting next year. The Big 10, Big 12, and the American all have much better athletes than in the Sun Belt. In his first 2 years in conference, he was about 28% from three. That's over his first 2 years in conference. Then he went to 37% this year. I wonder if this should be the norm or if the 37% was a bit of an anomaly. He doesn't have a traditional form. His set point is out and in front of his forehead, while it's almost like a set shot, jumping only a couple inches off the ground. His feet are also a bit wider than the typical shooter, while facing directly at the basket and not facing slightly to the left. What gives me some confidence and calm about his three-point shot is his free throw shooting. All 3 years, he shot over 81%. In the last 2 years, he's above 86%. With better shot selection on a contending team, I think you can realistically see him between that 38 to 40% range from deep. Jones is pretty crafty at getting to the rim, and at 200 pounds, he's already going to be bigger and stronger than most guys guarding him at the point guard spot. A bit of an old man's game where he's going to hit you with that misdirection and then get physical within 10 feet. When that 200 pounds hits you throughout the game, it's slowly going to wear you down. He can get to the rim consistently and is proven 2 of his metrics. Almost 61% of his shot attempts were from two-point range and made over 56% of them. But he's always in attack mode, getting to the line over 5 times per game. He was 27th in the country in free throws made. To compare, Mac McGlung made 12 less free throws while playing in 3 more games. Granted, Texas Tech had tougher competition, I get it, but that just shows how often DeVante was at the free throw line. It cannot be emphasized enough how strong he is. When defenders get on his side, he uses his size and strength to keep them from getting back in front. Uses simple crosses to get the defender rocking, and then he attacks and counters with either hand to the basket, or goes to his in-between pull-up or floater. Defensively, he's someone that you would call a ball hawk. He is always around the basketball. 3rd in the country in steals last year. He's not afraid to mix up his pressure on the ball. Sometimes he'll give you room. Sometimes he'll catch the offense off guard with tight pressure, really trying to poke the ball loose. He's a bit of a troll. He does gamble a bit, so when he goes to play at a higher level, he'll need to weigh the risk and reward a bit more. It's not bad being aggressive, but you don't want to leave your team out to dry and have them playing 5 versus 4 or 4 versus 3 too much. He's a bully on the ball and plays center field off the ball, always reading eyes and where the ball is rotating, showing off his high IQ, always a step or 2 ahead of where the ball is going. Whether it's something he's seen throughout the game or it's just something he picked up from film and scouting, he's looking to exploit any weakness the other team shows. He's got a nose for the basketball, and he's always looking to turn these steals into points on the other end. Snatching away a possession or 2 during the game can be the difference between a win or a loss. He's already difficult to guard straight up and beats guys off the bounce, so this forces the defense to rotate. When defense rotates, you guys have seen my videos before, that's when players counter and really exploit the defense. That's where Jones hits his players for very easy layups. When he gets to the paint, he's not out of control. He's fully aware of everyone around him. This past year, he put up 2 to 3 more shots per game, but also his assists were cut in half. When he goes to a team who is contending for a Final Four, he'll be surrounded by better players, which will not only open up his game, but he'll be passing the ball to some of the better athletes and players in the country who will be able to finish some of his passes. He's fun to watch in transition, probing and baiting defenses before dropping the ball off for an easy layup to his teammates. Overall, he's a complete player who will be a nice piece at his next stop. As noted before, remember, he's a graduate transfer with redshirt junior eligibility, so he has 2 more years left to play. With how he could rebound from the guard spot and how he could find people, don't be surprised if he flirts with a triple-double a few times next season. Against high major competition all time, he's averaging around 17 per game while shooting over 65% from the field and 75% from 3, which is ridiculous. That includes a postseason game against West Virginia where he put up 32 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. So I think he'll translate just fine at a higher level. I do believe he's more likely to return to school than stay in the draft, and with the right dynamic, he'll level up whichever program he chooses.
Dan Dockage can't guard me.